running a home is no small task. And if there is one thing that I have learned time and time again, it's that managing the inventory of all of your things and keeping yourself organized and keeping order in your home, it has such a direct impact on not only just the peace that I feel, but also my productivity as well. When it comes to decluttering and organizing and, cleaning up spaces, it's one of those things that you don't even realize just how much real estate these little tasks take up in your brain until you actually do them and you can move on from it. For me, for example, and I shared this in another recent video where I started kind of this process of decluttering, specifically the closets in our house. When we moved in about a year ago, I was super pregnant and I basically just unpacked, shoved a bunch of stuff in closets, and half the closets didn't even have shelves or like a bar or like a rod to hang stuff. Like it was literally just shoving stuff in there, and I just closed the door and I called it good, for that season, I guess. And you can close the door and you can pretend it's not there, but it's still weighing on your mind. And then every time you go to open that closet, it's just smacks you in the face, just the complete disarray and disorganization of it. And I know that I am someone who is very affected by mess and by clutter, but I'm also not a type A clean freak who is just in the complete habit of keeping the clutter at bay. It really is something that I kind of feel like I oscillate. I feel like most people are this way where, you get everything organized and clean and then you kind of let things build up until you can't deal with it anymore, and then you deal with it. And I'm trying really hard to get away from that. I'm trying to be someone who is more just in the habit of cleaning as I go and not letting things build up, because it's so much better for my peace of mind, and I feel like I can be so much more present when things are more in order. And funny enough, in this little paper calendar I ordered on Amazon a few months ago, when I was I desperately need a calendar I can look at that's not my phone, because every time I go to pick up my phone, I'm I need to check the calendar. There's a text or a notification or something else pops up that steals my attention, and then I literally forget that I even picked up my phone to look at my calendar. I don't know if anyone can relate to that. But so I bought this paper calendar and it's hanging in my wall, and it's the most simple thing, but it really has been life-changing for me. And it has little quotes on each page, and there was this quote for the month of November. And I'll read it to you guys because it was one of those things where I was like, wow, yeah, that makes total sense. And the quote is this: "Paying attention is a form of reciprocity with the living world, receiving the gifts with open eyes and open heart." So for me, what I kind of take away from this is the more present I am, the more gifts I can receive from this world, the more I can revel in its beauty and its joy, and basically the more that I can squeeze out of life. So for me, I know that when my house is messy and things are in a disarray, and I don't mean toys on the floor, because there's toys on the floor every day and we clean them up at the end of the day and we kind of reset the house, and I'm fine with that. But I'm talking more about the general declutter, or the clutter in the closets, or the things that are piling up that we don't need or don't use, or the decor that I don't even like but I'm still holding on to for whatever reason. I'm talking more about that kind of not just the everyday messes that come with living in a home, because you live here and it's going to get messy. There's going to be dishes, there's going to be toys, and that's fine. I'm talking more about that next layer that really, I know that that mess just attracts more mess. So when there's a bunch of dishes in the sink, it's so easy to just add another one, versus if the dish or the sink is completely clean and empty, you feel a totally different way about just dropping that plate in there and leaving it, because you just would rather keep that sink clean, if that makes sense. And I feel like this goes for so many things. So for the longest time, I've told you, our closets have been a mess. They've been a thorn in my side. So every time I looked in there, it was easy to just toss something in with no organization and just move on. But once those closets are clean and there's order and there's a system, when you open it up, it's not I'm just not just gonna toss this on the floor and move on with my day. I'm actually gonna put it where it belongs, and it kind of forces you to take more responsibility. So I know for me, like the action of going through and decluttering and organizing and trying to create some kind of system absolutely pays off. And it also holds me accountable in the future so that I actually like keep that organization going. And it's not perfect, right? Like you still have to revisit things and you have to go back and things pile up. And, but I think the more that you can be intentional about creating those systems, it just helps so much, and it frees up so much brain space, so much real estate in your brain, so that you can be more present and really enjoy more things and soak up more of the goodness that this life has to offer. I wanted to mention a book that I got a couple years ago, and I honestly need to go back through and read it again, but I'll link it down below. It's called Home Management, Plain and Simple, and it's just a great, straightforward book from a biblical perspective, which I appreciate, that really just walks you through how to keep your home, like how to manage your home, like as if it were a business. Like we're going to look at it black and white, and here's how you're going to put systems in place, and here's how you're going to tackle all these things, and here's how you're no longer going to, always be, feeling burdened by the laundry or the dishes or, the cooking in the kitchen or whatever it is. It's just a really great book, again, that I need to pull out and read again because it's been a while and I think I would benefit from going through it a second time. But I'll link that down below for you guys because I just find it super helpful. But also I want to say that having, lots of stuff and having clutter, not only does it take up brain space, but all things that you have in your home have to be managed, right? Like some things have to be clean, some things have to be tidied up, things have to be organized. Like all of these things, they take time. So the more stuff you have, the more time you'll spend dealing with that stuff. And I kind of, one of the main reasons that we moved into this cottage, we downsized big time. We sold our dream farmhouse that was honestly way bigger than we ever needed. It was over 6,000 square feet. It was a large home and we loved it, but we started to feel like having a much smaller home that was easier to clean, that had less room to store things, would just be a really welcome change. And it truly has been. And I feel like I'm just still kind of reeling, I guess, from that change and going through. We got rid of so much stuff when we moved. We sold so much furniture. We got rid of so many of our kids' toys. We got rid of so much just decor and stuff that, we just didn't even need because we just physically didn't have the space for it anymore. And something that was actually a really big catalyst that made us want to make this big change was a few summers ago, we stayed in this cute little Airbnb by the beach, and it was so much smaller than the house we were living in at the time. And obviously, we were on vacation, so we had, just enough clothes for the trip, and there was just a few books and toys in the Airbnb, and I wasn't cooking, all these big meals every day and making a mess in the kitchen, so it wasn't obviously reality. However, I was so taken aback by how much lighter I felt, how simple and just more manageable everything felt to me. And it was crazy just how different I felt in that house. Like we could just zip around and quickly tidy up, and the house could be clean and orderly in no time. And it was just such an eye-opening experience. And it just made me realize just how much, like when you have less things, as in stuff, when you have less stuff vying for your attention, you actually can pay more attention to the stuff that actually matters. And this was just such a life-changing experience for me that kind of set this whole thing in motion. And now that we've moved and we've downsized, and now I'm just kind of wrapping up that big transition while, by tending to these areas that we just haven't quite decluttered yet. And man, it feels so, so good. I cannot tell you how good it feels. And I hope that you guys walk away from this video taking some kind of inspiration with it. And I hope that it helps you maybe look at your home and look at some areas that you can tidy up or reorganize or declutter, because I'm telling you, it feels so good. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in my next one.